Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and it's Thursday night as we get ahead of these last two final play-in games here that we have, one in the East, one in the West. We're going to be looking at best bets here in this video. Also have play-up props up as we do each and every day now moving forward with these playoffs. Going to be bringing you some weekend videos moving forward too, which we did not do throughout the regular season very often, but got to get it in for the playoffs now. Also want you to head to thelines.com and use everything that we have up on the site to help you out while you're making these bets, including that prop finder tool to make sure that you can see all the best odds available to you for these player props that you're going to make this playoffs. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into your first best bet coming from that Western Conference finale.
Yeah, and I'm actually going with a player prop. This is usually Josh's move with the best bets when you have more confidence in something, but I don't trust the Pelicans or the Kings to win this game based on the spot that they're both in, with the Pels losing Zion and not having BI fully healthy. But what I do think is Jonas Valanciunas is going to get an honest slate of minutes, like 24 to 27 is what we need for him to get 10 rebounds, which is plus 110 at DraftKings, and you're getting plus 150 for the double-double. Something he's done in 5 straight against Domantas Sabonis, and actually 13 of his last 14 against the fellow Lithuanian, a little Olympic team narrative there, little brother. He obviously goes hard at him. Sabonis is bullying people this year, but Jonas is one of the bigger dudes out there and not somebody that he's going to be able to push around. So I think Willie Green's hand is forced here. I mean, the only concern really is that he just continues to yank him for Larry Nance Jr. I don't know how much of that is, trying to tip the floor on offense when Zion's out there, right? And saying like, this is the spacing we need. This is what we need, along Zion. We have not seen much of a spike for Nance without Zion, if you look at the entire season. And he has not been in the lineup very much against Sacramento because, I don't think he necessarily has the strength to deal with Domantas Sabonis. So the last time he was inactive in the last win for the Pels over the Kings, as we know, 5-0 against this team this year, Jonas played 33 minutes, goes for 13 and 10. Nance, that is, only played 27 minutes in the 2 he did appear against Sacramento this season. When Jonas is out there getting 24 minutes, he's getting 15.6 rebound chances against this team, grabbing 3.5 contested boards. His numbers post All-Star break at home are, again, very staggering, 14 rebound chances in just 21 minutes per game. So, again, if he can get a little bit more time, the Kings are going to miss shots. Like, this is something I'm going to lean on. You were talking about over in this game. I think the Kings are going to crash back to earth offensively after they just got, Keegan Murray left his body. It was just like slaying the dragon, finally beat the Warriors, light the beam. Now they go on the road against a team that has just smothered them defensively. They just don't have many weapons outside De'Aaron Fox, and he's had a lot of trouble against this Pelicans team. They've shot just 42% on the road their last 6 games versus 48% and 40% from deep in their last 6 at home. And they've shot just 33% from deep, and they're in the 5 against NOLA this year. So I think there will be rebounding opportunities aplenty based on how good the perimeter defense is. And I think Jonas will be able to gobble those up.
Yeah, bold move going and taking the player prop first. You definitely stole my move, but we've got 2 games here, and I do like the look. I don't trust Willie Green's rotation. I don't know what to do with it. That's my only thing. You brought up the Nance point, so I know you're well aware of the potential pitfalls of the bet is if the minutes don't come for Joval. But yeah, I keep going back to the same thing. Like, no matter how much you want to play Larry Nance over Jonas Valanciunas, or maybe even a little small ball 5 with Dyson, you can't do it now. You don't have Zion out there. You cannot rely on it anymore. So you need a big man out there. I think that the double-double is a good look alongside the points and rebounds as well. It's a similar style of bet if you wanted that as well, but obviously you get a little bit better love there for the double-double. So I'm not against it at all, but I'll stay in this game with my bet. In fact, I'm not only not against it, I do like it. I just am so frustrated with the way that I can't project Willie Green's rotation, but I think we can bank on needing the big man against Domas in this one. But I am going to take Domas and company to win this one by at least 1.5 points, so at least 2 points. And it moved, obviously, because it did not open at this number. And Zion's official outing, or his out status, is going to obviously impact this game a ton. And where is it going to impact this game a ton is the inability for this squad to get to the rim. Like, he was their rim go-getter, right? There was really not anybody else that's going and shooting from that part of the floor at this point for this team. Now, even Joval is, taking a good amount of stuff outside of the paint, but like overall for this team, it's like they're dead last in their last 10 games in terms of the amount of frequency that they're going to the rim. And that's over the last 7 games. There was 3 games before that where Zion went absolutely crazy inside the paint. But without him, now it's a jump shooting team. It's Trey Murphy, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum you're leading your offense now, right? And we're still seeing plenty of Jose Alvarado. I know Willie Green loves to go to him in the playoffs. But for the Kings, like the only thing that I don't think they're going to shoot 46% from deep. I don't. That's not where this bet is coming from. I prefer an over because I think both teams are going to get a lot of shots up. It's going to be a jump shooting game from that standpoint. And I look, Keegan Murray left his body. But honestly, if he hadn't left his body, there was still room for other guys to do more. I mean, D Fox, he didn't have a very good shooting game at all. It was 11 for 25 from the field and missed 6 of his 8 threes that he took. Obviously, Keon Ellis continues to be a complete maniac from 3, going 8 from 13, or it was Keegan that went 8 for 13, but he shot 75%. Keon Ellis did in his four 3-point attempts, to the point where there was a play in that game against the Dubs where they 2 guys left their man to go get Keon Ellis from shooting a 3, which left Keegan Murray wide open in the corner. Not a great look there in that rotation, but that's kind of been the thing with this Pelly's defense in the rotation around the perimeter as well, giving up the third. Now, yeah, they as good as above the break defense as they've been on the season. They are giving up a very high percentage from the above the break. At this point, they got the 5th worst defensive field goal percentage against that, and on the season now they're back down to dead last. They had a stretch where they were really pressing up top and doing well there. Now the 3-point shooting is available for other teams, and they're giving up a lot of attempts. So if you're going to give up those attempts to this team, it's going to be, I do think that the corner 3 for Harrison Barnes will be there. I do think that Keegan Murray will have 3s from all over the floor once again. They can't take away everybody. And if D Fox is able to shoot better than 42% from the floor, or even worse in the last few games at times, then there's going to be a lot of problem there. I don't like his match. Like, Jose Alvarado's matchup on him is not a plus for the Pellies, in my opinion. He's much better against dudes that don't have either the quickness or the ball handling that D Fox has, and he's not someone that gets rattled. But in those situations, been much better taking care of the ball this season in general. So I think that the jump shooting nature of this game is actually going to be a little bit more beneficial for this Kings team, who has shown a propensity to move the ball better around the perimeter, get a few more assists off of their shots, and not rely on ISO stuff, where they've got really good one-on-one defenders now with Keon Ellis and even Davion Mitchell getting the 15 to 20 minutes that he's getting. That perimeter D for Sac is better at this point than the Pelicans. And if they do need 3-point shooting, and we see Jordan Hawkins come in, and if he does trust the Rook at all, now we're talking about even worse defense around the perimeter. I know he's a very athletic, good dude, but we're talking about a Rook in a playoff situation that I'm not going to love that for the Pellies either.
Yeah, I don't think they have to dig that deep. They got plenty of guys on the wing. The issue is, the only reason I'm not going to fight you on this is because Brandon Ingram is a huge question mark in terms of how much can he handle here in his 3rd game back, when he, started okay and then looked completely out of rhythm and rusty after halftime, basically. And now he's expected to step up and be numero uno. And you get the Kings do have an advantage in terms of they can finally probably cool off CJ McCollum, who has torched them for years, with these 2 guards that they can deploy at him now. So they have advantages everywhere. And even though they haven't been good on the road, the Pelicans have not been good at home at all. Like, they're actually a better road team since the All-Star break. So saying they're gonna get right here, I think there maybe is a look for the win margin here that we tried with the Kings Dubs, and then your Dubs just got the floor waxed with them. I think this should be close down the stretch, though. The way the Kings have been going under, the way the total keeps dropping, and it probably goes down to the wire within 1 to 5 points. But let's move on to the East. And this one, I mean, Jimmy Butler ruled out, big deal. Alex Caruso is legit questionable, so I'm going to say over 205. That total's dropped 4 points, and it dropped a little more with Jimmy out. And I think that's the wrong direction. I don't think people are realizing that he's been much better defensively than offensively this year. He has not been very effective at all, in fact, on offense, and continues to like wait and pick his spots. Like is like, okay, here comes playoff Jimmy, and then he just never shows up in the fourth quarter at times. And the new emphasis on officiating has hurt his game a little bit because his free throw attempts are way down. And then on the other side, he's not going to be able to guard DeRozan, right? The potential clutch player of the year, a guy with a 129 offensive rating in the clutch post All-Star break, who's done very well against the Heat, even with Jimmy out there. His last 80 has a 137 offensive rating against this team. And this is now Tyler Hero's offense, right? And Tyler Hero, who we don't expect to start 0 for 8 or whatever he did against the Sixers, finished 9 for 27. Like, he should be a little better than that against a team that plays a more of a traditional drop D, right? In the Bulls. Like, he should be able to just eat in the mid range against Vooch, who isn't scaring anybody. Him and Bam are both going to be, I think, having success against Vooch. And, you know, maybe this Heat offense, which has been stuck in the mud for so long, actually gets unlocked here with guys like Jaquez and Caleb Martin flying around. I mean, but we're not asking for much, right? We're asking for both teams to get about 100 points. And actually, you can get plus money for that exact bet at DraftKings and climb it up to like 102.5, and you're getting like plus 130 for both these teams to go around 103. I mean, I think the Bulls have been great offensively lately. This is not the same Bulls team that only scored 91 in the play-in in the same spot last year against the Heat, right? I mean, you had Zach LaVine going 6 for 21 in that game. You had Pat Bev going scoreless in 27 minutes, and Kobe White getting buried behind those guys, and Kobe White now coming off the career performance and in 4 against the Heat this year. They have a 120 offensive rating to the Bulls, so I'm not worried about them coming along, finding some weaknesses in this Heat defense. As much as, you know, Spoelstra throws different curveballs at them, I think both teams will be able to score enough to make this total seem a little too low.
Yeah, this is my preferred side or total for either of these games is the over in this one. And at 205.5, like, I don't know, it just seems like there's going to be a lot more possessions than maybe they're giving credit to this game, to be honest. And I do, you know, I'm just going to talk a little bit more to that, even though I will throw out there that at the end of the game, I think it's just going to, as good as DeMar is at the end of games, I understand. I'm going to take Spo over Billy Donovan in that sense. That's really a big part of it, which is like, when does the in-game adjustment need to be made, and who do you trust to make it? Like, we've seen Billy Donovan not able to make it forever since he was coach of the Thunder. And that's been one of his pitfalls. And I don't know how he's still the coach of this team. I don't know how Zach LaVine is still on this team after what you're talking about. Like, last year, we were all like, well, I guess that was the end of Zach LaVine in Chicago, because there's no reason for not to trade him now. He's not even really helping you in these big moments. And obviously, I think we'll see that in the next year or so. But you know, for the Heat winning this game, like, there's going to be a little bit of Spider-Man meme, I would say, in terms of the way that these two teams are going to play defense in this game. And I just trust Miami's defense much more. The thing that I think is going to really, you know, hamper the Bulls, they're not good at limiting free throws. This Miami Heat team scores the third highest percentage of its points off of free throws. They have the 8th best free throw attempt rate, and Chicago's been bottom 10 all season. They're currently like 20th on the season in terms of their opponent's free throw attempt rate, but I think that's going to be a huge part of this. And then the other parts I'm going to add here, whatever Chicago does want to do on offense, I mean, look, they're going to have to hit a lot of shots, basically. And I do think those shots will be there. Miami gives up spot ups because of the fact that they're always going to collapse on you, right? And DeMar, we've seen him not score that much against this team. He's only gone over the 27 or the 26.5, mostly 27.5 now, as that keeps going up. You know, we haven't seen him go over that very much against the Heat. I think twice over his last 6 games against them, dating back to the last season. So there's basically reason to believe that, like, he will have the focus of the defense on him. As we know, they take away ball handlers in the pick and roll. That's what he's doing more than anybody. They take away everything from like 12 feet in. We know that's where he's going to shoot the majority of his shots from, taking like 3 threes a game against this Heat team, which is actually a bit more than he's taking against other teams. He's often at about 2 threes a game. And because I think there's something to the idea that he keeps getting frustrated when he gets into the paint and is surrounded by 3 dudes, including Bam Adebayo, that he's like, screw it, I'll shoot from back here, I guess, because he's made at least one, and the over half a three for him isn't a bad look. But like I keep talking about how much I like the over more because I do, but it also is all very correlated to the to the way that this Miami Heat team is really good against 2-point field goals. That's all that this Chicago team shoots, and they are going to force them to shoot a lot more threes. DeMar has 16 and a half potential assists in the last 3 games that averaging in the last 3 games that he's played against this Bulls team or this Heat team without Zach LaVine. So that's where we're at here. Is without Zach LaVine, it's like, yeah, was just laser focus on DeMar DeRozan, and he's on the Bulls. Bulls players on his potential assists, 29% field goal percentage on those 16 and a half. So like, that's why he's only gotten over the 5.5 assists that he's at in this one. In one of those last 3 that he's played without Zach LaVine, he had 5 assists on 17 potentials, 4 on 16 potentials. Like, that doesn't bode well, even though now, like you said, we've got a lot more Kobe White coming in, and he has done really well hitting his threes against this team. So I think he and if hopefully Dosunmu plays, because the Heat are vulnerable as well down low in that corner 3. So I would like him to play for the over. But as far as the Heat handling this game, when push comes to shove, like, the Bulls rely too much on stealing the ball and getting points off of turnovers. Heat take care of the ball, 10th best turnover percentage on offense. They're still in the top 12 in terms of limiting opponents' points off of turnovers, because they take care of the ball and they get back on defense as well as anybody in the league. And so between those two things, and also the field goal attempts for the Bulls, they want to go to the rim. Like, we've seen their rim frequency, their paint frequency, it's very, very high. That's where they want to take the bulk of their shots from. And if they're not able to, then this Heat team will be able to handle them. But 100 points for both teams for sure. I think this is going to be a little bit faster than we realize. And like you said, and what I've been saying, Jimmy is so important to their defense at this point. He had 2 steals in the first quarter yesterday that led to some transition buckets, and everything just stopped working as well for the Heat once he went down, obviously. So I still like them to take this game at the end. I do think it'll be close, but I also like the over a ton, which you mentioned.
Yeah, the Bulls games have gone, both teams over 100 pretty consistently over the last month of the season. The only exceptions being when Indy was on a back-to-back and they held them to 99, and when the Bulls were at Orlando and they only scored 98. So, I mean, Miami and Chicago, not really the same type of team. I know you said that Spider-Man meme thing, but I mean, Chicago has been a bit more up and down, pretty much, playing that style, that 4-out style on offense, because they, again, don't have a power forward, and they just rotate around Vooch and they run everything through DeRozan, and they've just been a more exciting, high scoring team with Kobe White kind of unleashed here. So I mean, don't be too fooled by the way the Heat mucked it up with the Sixers is all we're saying here, and kept that so low scoring because the Sixers had their limited options. Like, I think the Bulls, they're not going to score 130 like they did in the Hawks, but it should be a little more entertaining and from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, and the Spider-Man meme thing is about the way that each team is going to shoot a lot of threes. That's kind of what I see happening. I do see a good amount of threes going up. I also see, like, to your point, like the muck it up stuff that we saw from Miami. Like, Philly was 6 for 24 at one point from deep before they started hitting and coming back and winning at the end of the third and into the fourth quarter. Before that, they couldn't buy a bucket, but they're there. They're available, right? Because the spot ups are going to be there for that collapsing Heat defense, against that collapsing Heat defense. So that is all the time, though, that we have in this one. Continue to follow along. We're coming back to you guys for these playoffs each and every day now moving forward. Going to have the player props up as well for Friday night's game, so check that out. Until we see you next, happy betting.